Today, 12-2, part 2. So we've already done operations of complex numbers, but it was just adding and subtracting. Today we're going to multiply them. It's a little bit more complex, and that's why I split it up instead of trying to do it all in one lesson. So the main thing to remember here, well, there's two things. First off, we need to remember that I2 is equal to -1. The reason this is important is because when we are distributing these complex numbers, it's going to create I squared, and it's going to change our number to either a positive or a negative. So that's going to be one of the biggest challenges for today's lesson. Next, we are distributing. So distributing is not new. We've done that before. The only thing is that we have I in our answer. So our first example, 3 plus 2i multiplied by 5 minus 2i. Alright, so I drew out the lines like I used to when we first started learning distribution. So first I'm going to do 3 times 5, and I get 15. And then I got to do 3 times 2i. Now it's behind the minus sign, so that means it's negative. So when I multiply 3 times 2i, I get negative 6i. Alright, then I go back to 2i times 5, I will get 10i, and then 2i times negative 2i, and I get negative 4i squared. Okay, so here's where the I squared is going to come into play. Remember, I told you up here, I squared is equal to -1. Okay, so you have to take that -1 and multiply it by the -4. Alright, and that's going to change it to plus 4. So two things are happening on the end here. That I squared is -1. You're going to multiply. That gets rid, your I squared should be gone. And you're going to end up with just a plain number, whether it's positive or negative. Okay? So now we go back and we combine our like terms. So here we have 15 and 4. They're two plain numbers, so they can go together. So 15 plus 4, 19. And then combine the i's. -6 plus 10 is 4i. When you write your answer, it has to be in complex form. The real part goes first, the imaginary part is second. Okay, so that's the first one. I know it's confusing, but we have 3 more to go. Okay, next we have 6 minus 5i times -4 minus 3i. So again, start with the 6 times -4, -24. 6 times -3i, -18i. Go back, -5i times -4. Both of those are negative, so that's plus 20i. Changes to a positive. And then -5 times -3i will make plus 15i squared. But here's the I squared. We know that means -1. And we multiply that by 15, it's going to change it to -15. And the I squared is gone. So this is the challenge. I know you can see that now. So when you get to the end, whatever you have with your I squared, just make it the opposite. So here we have plus 15, it changes to minus 15. Here we had -4, it changes to plus 4. So really all I squared is doing is changing the sign of the number. Then you can go back and combine your numbers. So we're going to have -24 minus 15, that's going to be -39. And then negative 18i plus 20i is going to be 2i. Alright? You should have a complex number when you get through the real part, the imaginary part. Okay? If you don't come up with a real part and an imaginary part, it's wrong. Alright? If you still have I squared in your answer, it's wrong. So problem 9, which is in your book in exercise E. Alright, so we're going to start from the beginning. So I'm going to do 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times negative I will be minus 2i. I times 4 will be 4i. And then I times negative I will be negative I squared. I squared is equal to negative 1. This is a negative, so we're just going to change it to plus 1. Then I can combine 8 plus 1, 9, negative 2 plus 4, 2i. There's my complex number, 9 plus 2i. Keep up with your signs, they make a difference. Okay, your answer is going to be wrong if you don't keep up with your positives and your negatives, okay? One more, if you want to pause the video and work it yourself and then play the video to see if you're right, that would probably work good. So the first thing you want to do is 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times negative 2i is negative 6i. 2i times 6 12i, and then 2i times negative 2i is negative 4i squared. That I squared is negative 1. It's going to change my negative 4 to plus 4. Combine your like terms. 18 plus 4, 22. Negative 6 plus 12, 6i. 22 plus 6i. Be sure the real number goes first, the imaginary part goes second. So you have just a couple problems on that worksheet. I think it's like 2 or 3. 4. So there's 4 problems there. Re-watch the video, and then I should have my Zoom up. You see the little green thing beside my name, and you can Zoom is quicker, and we can work on it if you're having problems. So do your best.